Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Local Pundit. I'm Josh Anthony. This is your Saturday morning interview with a very, very, very special guest today. We actually were going to do this recorded, but then I said, fuck it. We're going to do this live, right? Here we go. So today we got a great interview coming in with two Beards podcasts. Half of it, Rousey's in. We're going to get a deep dive on him. Royal Rousey's in the house. How are you, brother?
What is going on?
Yeah. Welcome. We just decided to do this live about 10 minutes ago because I just woke up and Rousey was about to go to bed. He's like, let's do it live. And I want to make it interactive too. So let's do it. Awesome.
Yeah. Drew, one of the fuckheads, is already here.
Yeah. Get your questions in for Rousey. It's midnight for him. So I don't know. He might have been, extracurricular activities. We don't know, but it's all good. That's what makes him one of the people we love out there. Let's get into this. So I like to always start off with an origin story. So Rousey, tell us about yourself. Give us your origin story, and let's let it roll.
The origin of Rousey, hey? Oh dear. Well, how far do you want to go back? I mean, we can go back to the back of a Vauxhall in Coventry, or we can start from I guess day dot. Born in England.
Give me the birth canal. Let's go.
Hey, Welsh Techie's here. No.
Welsh Techie's here. Welsh Techie told me not to do it live, which is why I was like, we're doing this live.
Oh, he was on our show a little while back, and he saw what we're like. He's a good bloke though.
Good guy. I met him for the first time. Yeah, all right. No. Origin story. The canal origin story.
Well, after me parents did their thing, I popped out. It was April 18th, 1985, in Coventry at the Coventry Hospital. So I was born in England, lived in a small sort of town outside Coventry called Nuneaton.
Mm-hmm.
And well, it's a borough. In England, they call it a borough, but smaller town outside of England, outside of Coventry.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up sort of. I've followed Coventry quite religiously when I was in England, and then moved out here when I was 7 years old.
Okay.
Which explains why I don't have a very thick English accent. Moved out of here when I was 7, and then where did I go from there? Went through private school, all that sort of shit, which I hated. Well, it's good now, but it wasn't back then. I was an elite athlete all the way through school. So I was a track cyclist and represented Australia and all that sort of stuff in my younger years.
Yeah.
Then I left that, joined the army, came back, got married, got fat, had kids.
It's dad bod. It's a dad bod. It's not fat. It's dad bod. It's all in. It's all good.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, got the rocking 2 dad bods, I think. but yeah, so the whole time, I've been an avid football fan. I wouldn't say I was a major supporter of Coventry. I wouldn't watch their games religiously the way I do with Wrexham games, but I would keep an eye on their scores and see how they're progressing through the leagues. And then pretty much then Wrexham came along, so that it was an interesting conversion. Got a lot of shit for it.
Oh, we're gonna give you shit today too, for sure, on everything. I gotta dive into some of the old, and I see some of the questions, and we'll get to those too. I wanna, and we will get again. This is interactive today. Good morning, Josh and company. JB65, how are you? We'll get to that question in a minute. Let's go back up to Coventry. So you're born in Coventry, right? As a little kid, what do you remember? Like, do you have brothers and sisters? How big a family? What was that like?
So I've got, it was just a typical family. Got an older sister. She was a year older than me. Coventry around that time Well, Coventry was probably one of the worst hit towns in England when the bombing of Britain happened. And even when I was young, there was still, and we're talking like 1990, and this thing happened like 50 years before. They were still repairing parts of Coventry because they hadn't gotten around to it. It was the place was flattened, absolutely flattened. Because Coventry was like a major car manufacturer city, kind of like Detroit. But they had the Rolls-Royce factory there, and they were manufacturing engines for the planes.
Okay.
And yeah, the auto industry was very, very big, and then obviously that all collapsed big time. But yeah, Coventry went through it really, really hard. And they never really recovered. They're starting to now. From what I hear, they're starting to now, but it's been a long, long road for them to get recovery. The whole culture around the place is very depressing. A lot of knife crime as well. So you actually see outside the Coventry Cathedral, which they still leave standing as a monument to when Coventry was bombed. They have an angel made of pocket knives taken from young adolescents that wandered the streets of Coventry and was causing a lot of problems. So they did like a mural to it to try and say, hey, this is, not good, but don't know what the reason was really behind why they chose to do it like that. But yeah, it's just a little homage to it. It was a very, very tough, hard town.
Can you tell that when you were like, obviously you left, you were 7, we'll get to why you guys left, but like at a young age, could you feel that energy in the town? Did you know that like, I mean, your parents did they keep you, for lack of a better word, away from it, sheltered as much, or was it, I don't know.
It's one of the reasons why we moved out to Australia.
Yep. Okay.
So, I mean, you're talking about post-Thatcher era Britain, and it wasn't great for the working class. In fact, it was fucking piss poor for the working class. And there were taxes upon taxes. You would get taxed for a tax. Yeah. It was bullshit. So the lifestyle there went quite south quite quickly, and my parents grew very concerned, and they're like, well, if we bring our family up in this, that I might end up in a gang or a firm or something. They didn't want that life for me, so they moved us out to Australia. That's the whole reason why I ended up in Australia. So, but they say you can take the boy out of the UK, but you can't take the UK out of the boy. That is still home to me,
Yeah. And it's evident in everything, I listen obviously your show, whenever you guys talk about, you might be down under, but you're still Royal Rousey to me. Welsh Techie says, love this guy. Everything that's best in all of us is with him. Absolutely. Adam Cruz, that's also here. I mean, Welsh Techie's, I don't know. Is that true? I think it.
Yeah, I love Welsh Techie. He's fucking awesome.
That's awesome. I met him for the first time last night, and great guy. Sup, everybody. Good morning. If you're where I am, good day, and everywhere else. And on the move, I mean, that's such a big move for a family to get up. Obviously, having your parents cognitive, knowing like what's going on in around them in a community. What kind of work were they doing? And to get you at 7, so you probably just go first grade or second grade at that time. What kind of work were they doing that they can get up and move a whole family down to Australia?
So my dad was a boilermaker.
Okay.
Doing a lot of welding and stuff. My mum was an accountant for FedEx. So there was a bit of work there, but they, the move itself, I mean, I remember it. It's clear as day.
Do you remember it? Yeah.
I distinctly remember it was in January, which is Australia's summer. And I remember getting off the plane in Perth and just it felt like I was on a tropical island. It was very, very weird. I didn't want to leave, and I said a few bad things to my mum at the time. Like, how can you do this to me? How can you take me away from my friends? And I was really angry, and it was really tough for her. But it turned out to be a very positive thing in the end, and Australia was a great place to live. Still is somewhat,
Minus
but
the internet problems we talk about all the time on our shows, right?
Yeah, we are somewhat backwards with that, but it's yeah, I do remember. I remember leaving. It was cold. It was snowing, and coming out of that into middle of a West Australian summer, which notoriously gets temperatures constantly. For the American audience, it'll be about 110, 115 and above, and then for my UK audience and Australian audience, whoever's tuning into this, that's around about 40 to 45. And stinking hot for like weeks, months on end. It was just ridiculous. But
you walk outside, it just hits you in the face. It's like, oh God, yeah. So
I even remember the smell of the airplane fumes in from the airport. It's crazy how much of that I remember in that trip. Leaving England, it was just insane. But yeah. So
we needed. I asked Rousey for a picture of him. I should have asked for the younger picture of Rousey when he was, when he was in his heyday. I'd love to. You got to get pictures for us so we could see him. So the adjustment period coming in at 7. Did you? Obviously you're mad at your parents. Allegedly said some bad things. Don't know about that. But yet. Did they have jobs lined up, or was it just like I don't? Because that is a huge company move for a family to go down there. Or was it just like we're going to Perth? Was there like a reason they chose Perth, or was it just like we're gonna get as far away from Coventry as possible?
Yeah. So interesting story behind that. So they didn't really have anything. My dad was he was looking for a job in either he almost got a job in Canada. And I think it was for some reason, I want to say it was a place called St. David's or something in Canada.
Okay.
Like he almost got a job there. So it could have easily have just been Canada. And then there was also a company down here called Austell Ships. So he was able to get in on the ground floor at Austell Ships. So that's when they decided, Australia is going to be the place we're going to go. It was a bit easier on the visa because they're part of the Commonwealth. Because that turned out, my dad was able to go straight into a job. It just worked out. My mum, on the other hand, wasn't. She didn't have anything like her. I think her main priority was to make sure that we were okay and that we were getting settled in before she went back into the workforce. So it was very, very big. I mean, even to this day, the weight of making a choice like that to leave your family, your friends, everything you've ever known to go over the other side of the world in the other hemisphere. It couldn't have been easy. I don't know. I don't know how they made that choice. And to this day, it completely blows my mind. But I'm glad they did. I'm really glad they did, because I wouldn't have had the life I have now and wouldn't have been in the situation I am now if they didn't make that choice. So, yeah.
So you said your sister's a couple years old. By the way, a couple years older than you. And I'll get to that in a second. Hey, Aaron, how are you? Making that choice, were you closer to your sister? Did she adjust better than you, or did you have a hard time adjusting? Was it like, I'm going to get into sports and I'm going to become an elite athlete? How did you adjust when you landed down?
Pretty much that. Like, I got it well into sport, and I made a lot of friends that way. And my sister, so much, she was cut from a different cloth. God bless her. She's my sister. We've never really had like a close relationship, even when we were younger, because we were two very, very different people. So, and sadly, as we got older, I don't really talk to her as much. But she's still my sister. She's still family, and I'll be there for her if she needs me. So But yeah, sadly, we've never. I can't really say that we've ever been that close.
Mhm.
So yeah.
So you must have felt pretty alone on that. Welsh Chucky's asking, last time you visited UK, do you see it differently now after moving down under?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Last time I visited the UK, I was 13 years old.
Oh my
So
day.
it was about 6 or 7 years after we moved. My parents have been back a few times, but for me, the last time I was 13. Um, and I think as far as seeing it differently, um, I think, like I've said, I mean, I've always feel very connected to the UK because that's home. That's where I was born. I mean, that's still where a majority of my family are. Um, so do I see it differently? I think, I mean, I don't really know if I would see it any other way. I mean, I know the UK and the people in the UK are wonderful people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got its problems, and it's gone through some very, very hard times. And I think, being on the outside of that and not being in it, seeing it and experiencing it, just gives me great sympathy for the people in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably the best way I can answer that question.
That's a good question. Aaron says, "Hey guys, yeah. When you get in, so sport wise, what were you doing? Were you playing footy? Were you playing? What they have you put you in? You must have just,
Yeah. So I did do football for a little bit, but I went from there into swimming because my dad also was a swimmer,
Okay.
and his dad's dad was a swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I did that along with football.
Mm-hmm.
And then swimming took over. I got really, really good at it,
Really?
from state level through to national level. But I went through a period of time where I actually suffered quite a bad back injury. So I took some time off, and when I was coming back, I took up a bit of running,
Mm-hmm.
and I liked riding. So that led me into triathlon.
Wow. Yeah.
And when I was in triathlon, I discovered that I was really, really good on the bike and really quick. And my coach at the time said, "Look, you've got something. You can sprint really fast. You should go to track cycling and try out for the sprint team."
Mm-hmm.
So I did, and then I set the state record, my first competitive event,
How old?
and I was 16.
Oh wow. Young
Yeah,
Rousey. Young Rousey.
young Rousey.
Yeah.
Uh,
Great shape. I bet you were in sick shape.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
I was I was in real good shape, but sadly that's taken its toll on me now. But yeah, so I did cycling for quite some time. Was part of the Australian national team. Was sponsored. Was for all intents and purposes elite.
Mm-hmm.
Raced and trained with some well-known cyclists that went on to do really well in the Tour de France. Yeah, so that was that. I missed out on going to the Olympic Games, and when you're that type of athlete,
Mm-hmm.
you devote your life to it. I had no job, no friends other than who I trained with.
Yeah.
All I knew was cycling every single day. And this was just after I'd finished school.
Mm-hmm. That's got to
And
be. I was going to say, like, that's, you were almost, if that becomes your whole life, and you're like, it kind of not pushes everything else out, but if you're going to be that elite of an athlete, you got to dedicate your entire life to it.
Oh yeah,
and you got to be straight on at it all the time. And I think that's incredible that
absolutely.
you put that much effort into that. And possibly, maybe you didn't have any distractions, because you were in a place that you just moved to. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's right. And I had only a very tight knit group of friends when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of lady friends as well, but
Well, when you're that shredded and you're good on a bike. I mean, come on, how can you not have the
yeah. I guarantee you, I probably would get Me Too if I was.
Yeah. I just
Oh dear, yeah, there was a lot of girls at the time, but that was that was just the early 2000s. It's just what you did. So, but yeah, I missed out on going to the Olympic Games, and it gutted me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely gutted me. Because I wanted it so bad.
Where was that? Where was that?
That was the Athens Games.
Oh, okay, copy that. Yeah, copy that.
Yep. So I missed out, and I was like, well, I'm going to take some time off for myself. I felt a really big urge to represent Australia in something, so I chose to join the army.
Yeah, that was going to get Stoner Combat right there. Yeah,
I was infantry. Ended up in the 1128th Battalion. Also share, I don't know how many history buffs we got here with the 10th Light Horse, which is the armored division, but we were closely tied in with them and 1128th Battalion. So I was straight infantry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be, I wanted to be, if I was going to go to war, if I was going to give my life to something, then I want to be at least in the thick of it on the front line, and that was the mentality I had. Like I wanted to be that man. So yeah, I ended up serving in the military for a little bit. Came home when my mum got sick. So she contracted a very, very serious sickness, which ended up changing her life completely, which saw me have to stray away from my army career. And that's when I met my first wife and had my eldest daughter. So that's where it all changed. So just circumstances of life and fucking hell, weird fun.
Yeah, and you look back, you're like, well, how did we get through that? But but I'm very sorry to hear about your mother's illness. And that's obviously things you never want anything to happen to anybody. And also to big shout out to losing your pup as well. I know everyone was reaching out, and I know we've all been there.
Appreciate it, man.
Nick Sombrano says, "Good day, gentlemen. Lovely conversation. I'm enjoying the honesty and openness." No, I love doing this stuff. It's good to
you all are going to see a side to me that you've never seen. Like, I know a lot of time you see this big, massive, larger than life character on screen, and that, by all intents and purposes, is me. I do not have a filter. And I do often say whatever shit comes to my head, but no, I think this is a good time for people to know what type of life I lived and who I am and why I support Wrexham.
All leads. Every road leads back to Wrexham, obviously.
All the time.
Stoner Combat Vet was 101st Airborne, and Will Ambo says, "I think Rousey in the military would be in the movie Stripes." Oh, totally. He's in the movie Stripes, and then when he was training, he was in Everybody Wants Some. Those are my two movies I envision when he was growing up. Would Rousey be John Candy in Stripes or Bill Murray?
Oh, see, I don't know. I would be more like, I would have thought more like, what was that movie that Robert Downey Jr. was in? Not the comedy one. Not where he played the black dude.
It's like, Rousey. Yeah. I'm a man. Yeah, that guy. I don't know. Someone will get it in the chat, but okay. Or you could have been in the army now, something like that. What's the hell? He's horrible.
But I will say this: John Candy was one of my idols.
Yeah. So
a lot of my humor, a lot of my comedic style is modeled off John Candy, and so rest in peace.
Yeah,
he's a great guy. I loved his movies.
I was just talking about this with my buddy. We were driving up north about John Candy being a heavier guy. He was running my stepfather. Actually, he looked just like my stepfather. John Candy in Splash, just always just like picking up just very attractive women, and he just had it, all the time. Just always picked up very attractive women, and just had that twinkle in his eye. One of my favorites of all time too. Pauly Shore, Pauly Shore in the Army now. Yeah. Rousey as Kurt Lazarus.
Kurt Lazarus. Oh shit!
Definitely Kurt Lazarus. I wanted to ask you too, before we get off the not going to the Olympic Games and how you got into the Army there. I mean, that's a big hit. You dedicate your life to something and then it doesn't happen. How did you? I know you went to the Army. You said that. How did you manage to, like, when you heard? How did you manage to adjust your head? Like, well, I'm going to go to the Army now. I mean, that's a big step. One, it's tough to take. I mean, everyone wants something so bad and it doesn't happen, but the reasons why it happened, you realize will later come out. How did you take that? I mean, it must be gut wrenching.
One of the things that got me was I love military history.
Mm-hmm.
So I love anything to do with war history, even from going way back, even to the American Revolution War or the Civil War, the Great War. Obviously, I know a lot about. A lot of history stuff I love around war.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been something that's rather been intriguing to me. Why I chose to go to the Army, though, I wanted to do something completely different. All I had known all my life was sport. Sport and study, that was all I did. And I wanted to do something completely different, but I didn't really know what. And my interest around war history and stuff just got me sort of... It was around the time that 9/11 also happened.
Yeah.
So it was a couple of years after that, and Australia was backing the US in the war in Afghanistan and things like that. And I don't know, that just lit a fire in me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I want to do something here. I want to be a part of it. I want to, train up and go over there and help out. And that was my original intent.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't really end up going that way. And I didn't get to go to Iraq or Afghanistan or, so I ended up really just staying in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
Doing a bunch of training and getting ready and all that sort of stuff and trying to get myself into the right places that were getting deployed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then obviously my mum got sick. Now, if to touch base on that, my mum, she contracted sepsis at the time, and it led to lifelong complications. So she now has pulmonary hypertension and sarcoidosis. So she's on a lot of drugs which will extend her life, but she's obviously too sick to get a heart and lung transplant.
Mm-hmm.
So her life is vastly different. And I came back. I wanted to look after mum and, be there and do what I can because, you only get one mum. So I took the opportunity to come back, and the Army said I could, see out the rest of my contract as a reservist. So I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then just sort of life just happened in between then and then moved on and left the Army altogether. But yeah, that's why I wanted to be part of it. It was at that exact time. And,
Mm-hmm. Do you think that coming from a town like Coventry that had been so affected by the war that you liked history, that it was obviously 9/11? I know we all, always hits me hard there too. Do you think that came from your interest there because of where you grew up in Coventry?
I would say so, because growing up in Coventry, that's what you learn. I mean, that is, the UK's resilience manifest right there, because they talk about in the UK about having stiff upper lip, keep calm, carry on,
Yeah.
So that was, their thing. And growing up in Coventry, it was well known. I mean, even to this day, they're still finding unexploded ordnance around Coventry. So you can't have something like that happen to a town like Coventry, and then to have to rebuild themselves from literal ashes. Without, you can't grow up around that in that area and not know or feel somewhat affected by it. You know, my family was directly affected by it. So yeah, I don't have my military picture on the computer, Will.
Really? Yeah, Rousey, please post your military picture. No, it's too hot. It's too hot. It's too good.
I actually got to dig through I think I've got my plaque and that still that we get, but I have to dig through that and post it up online at some stage.
Oh, definitely.
It's very weird. Very different style of me with no beard. No beard.
Clean shaven, Rousey. Oh my God. Well, yeah, I made sure that I had a little bit today. I knew we were doing this, so we're bearded up. Shout out to Adrian, who's not here today. But yeah, we were totally bearded up.
He's in his bed fast asleep.
One day we'll get you both on together. Yeah.
You should take a nice bath. Hey. Oh dear. But no, so Coventry, it was such a bad place when it came down to the youth crime there, and but everyone there is extremely passionate, and that's one thing I actually quite love about the UK, and I think it harkens back to the days when the United Kingdom was, split into multiple different kingdoms. And everyone had their own areas. Like you had Northumbria, you had Wessex, you had Mercia, Sussex. You had loads of different kingdoms.
Yeah.
And everyone was extremely protective of their own little kingdom that they're in. And I think that sort of culture and lifestyle carried on into the later years, because now you have, obviously, it carried on into football. Is probably the best way I look at it, is because you're extremely protective of your team and your town.
Yeah.
You grow up, you're a Coventry boy, you support Coventry. You're a Liverpool person, you support Liverpool, so on and so on. And you do get mingling of groups here and there, but it's just so tribal over there, and everyone's so fiercely protective of their own.
You choose your side, and this is my side, and that's it. That's all you have.
Like you could, no joke, you could be from that place, and you bag that place, and like, this place is shit, and rah 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 rah. But if you weren't from that place and you said that place is shit, you'll get fucking daggers thrown at you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can say it about it. You can't say it about it. Like I can make it. If someone comes at you, like, no, you're not allowed. I'm the one that can say the bad stuff about it. I get that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the trouble. William Bell says that picture's for OnlyFans. Him and the Hawk Tour girl are going to go make $1 billion this year for sure. Yeah. So you come out, obviously your mom not doing well, and you come out of your contract there, and in your 20s said you met your first missus and had your first child. What in your 20s? What are you, like 22, 23 at that time, right?
23.
23, yeah. What was what were you in? Did you find work? Obviously, you went home to take care of your mom. What was going on there in regard to like job wise? Was you still getting paid by the military? I'm not quite sure how it works.
Yeah, so I was, but I also went into security for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like a natural progression for anyone, like typical army. You go into security or do something along the lines of that. But
I could never. Adrian can never be replaced. Yeah.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
Well, I was starting like WWF conflict here. It's like Raw.
Oh dear, I've completely forgot what the question was now.
Coming out of your 23 and you've gotten to security, obviously. You are kind of following. John Candy after he did Stripes. Then he went and did like Armed and Dangerous as security guard. So like you're literally living John Candy's like. Now you're
That's
Uncle Buck.
right.
Now you're Uncle
That's
Buck.
right.
Yeah.
No, but I, you know, I got a job as a security guard for a while and did that for 3 or 4 years,
Mhm.
and then during that time I was married and divorced. I was too young
Yeah.
to get married. I was not ready for it, and in some instance, and this will be a rather tough thing to say, but I wasn't ready to be a dad. I was too young,
Mhm.
too irresponsible. I hadn't really lived.
Yep.
My whole life I had known, just to serve and to do sport. I wasn't ready to be a dad. So it took me a couple of years to actually come around and really step up and understand what being a dad was. But yeah, in the meantime, the marriage failed. Didn't really, didn't really last very long. And then I ended up just milling through life. I worked as a forklift driver and a tire fitter, and tried to figure out my own way through life. And a lot of that I was doing to support my family.
Did you
And
feel
then
on that, like not feeling? I mean, you were 24, 25 years old at the time, right? It's if you had got married and had a kid, it must have been. Did you feel like this is like you failed at that, or do you feel like this is something you want to get better at and you can improve on being a better father?
oh no, I got the drive under me. Like and it took a while.
Mm-hmm.
It took a couple of years for it to actually sink in about what being a dad is.
Mm-hmm.
But it at the end of the day, I was too young at the time, which is when I say I was too. I mean that's why the marriage failed essentially. But the best thing that came from it was that my kids or my eldest daughter. I have had a relationship since where I've had 2 kids with her, but me and her decided that we were better off as friends.
Yeah.
So we never actually got married, but we did have kids together.
Mm-hmm.
And I love being a dad. I
Yeah.
love it. It's my purpose, and I like making people happy. I like serving. I like to make people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a bit of a showboat in school. And I
Yeah.
think that's probably why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Um,
But you're
I
doing it
went
very
into
well.
sales.
Yeah.
Ended up, and then that became my career.
Mm-hmm.
And then that led into, to ultimately into what I'm doing now, which is chatting shit on the internet.
Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? The sales is great. Adrian and Josh cage match. Yes. Winner gets Rousey a pay-per-view event. Going back to that. Yeah. $49.99. Yeah, you go. Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Sales wise, and obviously, thanks for sharing about, your family and everything. And that's never, always looking back and reflecting and like seeing how I could be, how I could have been better. But, I've done a lot of things in my 20s too, where I just wasn't ready, and even now at my age, I'm hopefully trying to be ready for other things myself. But it's tough to admit that to yourself. I'm sure, especially coming from.
We all got to fuck up.
Yeah.
All got to fuck up, and I wish I could say I had a perfect life, but then my life would be boring.
Yeah.
If I didn't make half the mistakes that I made, I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I wouldn't be the committed dad and loving family person that I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, everything happens for a reason, I guess, at the end of the day is one of those sayings, but,
and you learn more from
definitely.
your failures too, and they're not failures in certain ways, the way you could look at them, you know what I mean? They're obstacles and you can learn from them, and sometimes people don't recover, sometimes they do, but if you learn from them the right way, you crack on, and then, which is good. What would Josh's Karate Kid finishing move be called? Just finish him. That's obviously just finish him. Yeah. So you go into sales. I could totally see you as a salesman. Yeah, just sitting there grinning ear to ear. No beard, I'm guessing. I'm guessing you're still no beard at that point.
No. the beard came about 3 years ago,
Okay.
3 or 4 years ago. I think I started growing out the beard, but yeah, I don't know why I did. I think a lot of my friends had beards and things, and I was kind of like, I looked all right with a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
And everyone used to say, yeah, you look all right with 5 o'clock shadow. So I thought I went one extra and went the full beard. It took a lot of patience to grow.
Itchy, right? It gets itchy. Right?
Yeah. So a lot of beard oil, and looked after it and grew it, and it eventually became nice and thick. And yeah. That's how I became a beard.
It looks good on you. The competitive beards there. That's like say getting into sales. I mean, that's not an easy job too, to put yourself out there. I mean, I've been in sales myself, and it's not an easy job. But I can see the type of person you are. Do you like want to go out and, not to say be on, but you probably adapted pretty well to that.
Yeah, I did, and a lot of it was it like mine was business to business sales, and in the electrical industry. So, and right now I'm working, in cable, so which is vitally important, and it's a very, very busy job, but it's not the end goal for me. I think I want to see Two Beards Media grow, not so much the Two Beards Wrexham podcast, but the Two Beards Media company that we have. I want to see that grow and go into something that I'm passionate about, because I discovered I love creating. I love creating things, and I love making people happy and making people laugh. And if I can do that for a day job, then fuck yeah.
Then everyone wins. And you guys, just about good transition right there. Just about to get into Two Beers and how you met Adrian, and what obviously you want to be passionate. You can see that you can see the passion comes through when you guys do your shows. Obviously, I was on with you and I listened as well. So, how did you meet Adrian?
Okay, so it was early days with short, like, post takeover with Wrexham. He actually ran the Australian Wrexham supporters group.
Oh, did he? So he knew of Wrexham before. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat, but a lot of like, we're post takeover babies, basically. Like, we're the documentary sort of helped seal it. But I've seen a lot of like Welcome to Sunderland, and seen a lot of those documentaries, and they're pretty good. But the Disney Plus documentary on Wrexham, Welcome to Wrexham, it just grabbed me.
Yeah,
there was something about it. I don't know if I felt an affinity to it, because it felt very much like a Coventry type story, but more like, wow, like this town has fucking been through it. And the people are just amazing people, very kind and welcoming people. And I don't know, I just saw that came across in the documentary, and I would start slowly listening to more and more games. I'd be getting my Wrexham news wherever I could. I'd be listening to Fearless in Devotion, Me the Wife from Wrexham, Rob Ryan Red, all those guys. I was, starting to religiously listen to these programs and try and get as much Wrexham news as I could. And I remember one day I was sitting down talking to a friend who's also from the UK, and he supports Manchester United. He said, I think you're a Wrexham fan. And I'm like, no, I'm a Coventry boy. I'm a Coventry boy. What the fuck are you talking about? Get out of here. Right? And he's like, no, mate, look, you're always talking about Wrexham. Like, you've got, and just like,
It's like, no, it's okay. Yeah, it's good. It's okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Convincing you to yourself. You start having the transition like, shit, he's right. And you don't want to admit it
yet. Yeah. So then the Coventry game happened. And that was a huge moment for me because I was like, I was at this stage, I was already feeling it. That Wrexham had his hooks in, but I was denying it.
Yeah.
And then the Coventry game happened, and that was it. I was all Wrexham, and I came into work the next day, and I said to him, "Mate, look, I'm going to admit it now. I'm a Wrexham fan. It's in me. I love this. I love this shit. It's just." And then he started paying me out for it because I jumped.
Oh yeah, of course. He led you to the water, and you're like, yeah, you're right. I am a Wrexham fan. It's like, and Veronica Corningstone and I are in love.
Yeah. So fast forward to I was jumping on a few of the live spaces that Rob Ryan Red do, and it was the Boreham Wood game.
Yeah.
No, not the Boreham Wood. It was the Notts County game where the Ben Foster save. And I got on
ball as well, 100%.
I got on that, and I think it says Ben Foster have my babies, and I was just like, yeah, I went on this whole tirade, and he was there listening to that, and I can't remember if he reached out to me or I reached out to him.
Foz?
But I think it was because we were both, in Australia, and he wanted more Australian fans. So we just started talking.
Sorry, this is Adrian said, okay, sorry. I thought you meant Foz, but Adrian. Got it, yeah. By the way, well, check this. You are a great producer, and Two Beards Media will continue to grow. Yes, I think so.
Oh, thanks, Welsh, Techie.
Sorry.
So we sort of got talking a bit, and I watched he would release some content on his Australian Wrexham supporters thing.
Yeah.
And he had this sort of what's the best way to put it? I don't know. It's just like something in him or something that I saw. I was like, me and him could have a really interesting dynamic. So I mentioned to him, I'm like, hey, do you want to record a podcast? Just put it out there, one episode, see what happens. If it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If it doesn't, then, no harm, no foul. I just think there's something here that we can probably explore, a rather interesting dynamic. And he's like, yeah, all right, we'll give it a shot. So we went out and we purchased I've got a cheap ass microphone and a shitty system. And as you do when you're starting out.
Anything.
and we recorded our first episode, and it was interesting. It's probably one way to put it.
Do you ever go back and listen to it lately? Or
no? Yeah, it's so weird, man. It is so weird.
Yeah.
I hear some of it now. I'm just like, wow, it's amazing to see the skill develop as a podcaster over the years. So we released the first episode, and Mark Griffiths liked it.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, well, you know what? I'll reach out to Mark and I'll say, hey, thanks for liking the episode. If by any chance you'd be interested in coming on, we'd be happy to have you. And sure enough, he came on. He said he came in and said, yeah, I loved what you guys released. You guys have a very unique and different take on things, and I'd be happy to jump on board and join you for an episode. So he did, and after that, it blew up. It just, we were in it. There was no getting out of it at that point.
Yeah.
Like wow.
It chose for you. Yeah.
It chose it for us. Yeah. Like we really had no idea. So I had to then sit down with Adrian. I called a meeting and I said, right, we need to discuss this. Like, are we really going to do this? Are we going to rubber stamp this? Are we going to make something of it? If we are, we need to prepare. We need to look at things like taxes, because there'll probably come a point in time where we make money.
Yep.
And we've got to make this into a legitimate business. So we were like, after the feedback we got, we're like, we got to go down this path. Yep. We got to see where it takes us. And that was the birth of the Two Beards Wrexham podcast, which at the time was called Two Beards, a Podcast, and Wrexham AFC.
Okay. Just a short one, right? Just a short.
Yeah. So we shortened it and made it more simple. Aaron found us through that episode.
And then yeah. William Buster's one, Rousey and Aid meet. Which one of you jumps into the other one's arms? That's a good question.
Oh,
I think it's a mutual.
I might give him a cheeky grab on the cheeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you got canceled. That's how you got canceled. There you go.
So yeah, he actually lives in Adelaide, which is over the other side of Australia. But we do run the business. We run it as a business. Mm-hmm. We want it to grow. We want it to take us places and see where it goes, and then it just keeps. It's just not stopping. I think now we're almost at 3,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, keep on going. Keep on. Consistency and doing good work, guys. Absolutely, that's awesome. Awesome.
It's just we never saw this happening, but it was a case of, whilst we never saw it happening, we may as well grasp onto it and hold the fuck on, because something's happening, and that's where we are now. And we've got a great bunch of people that we've met, a great fan program. Everyone in that fan program is just top class, and I love every single one of them. Mm-hmm. And they're helping us to get where we want to go, and get us back over and watching Wrexham in the flesh, which will be just at this stage an absolute dream come true.
Yeah. But and I know you guys have plans to do that. Before we get off Adrian real quick, when I say tell us something about Adrian that we don't know. As you know, that we don't, not in like a bad way, I'm not fishing for, but tell us, something that we don't know about him, and your relationship, and why you guys, other than the podcast, are together.
A lot of what you see on the podcast is genuine. Like I get it. It'll be a more sort of beefed up character of ourselves, but it's that interaction that me and Adrian have that's genuine.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time I will say something to try and get to him, or try and piss him off, or feed him something just to get him fucking fired up.
Yeah.
And he bites every single time. It took a little while, because I remember when we first started it, and I was like, I can play on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He would get really, really pissed off and upset with me, and then I'll be like, "Hey, dude, just it's all good, mate. It's all just jokes."
Yeah.
But sometimes he would give it back, and I wouldn't be ready for it. Then it would just be it would end up in a full argument. But we sort of learned each other's mannerisms, and he knows that I like to G him up a little bit, or lead him to places where he can feed off it.
Yeah.
And constantly have him on the back foot. And I think that's probably the best. I constantly have him on the back foot, because he never knows what's going to come out of my mouth.
Yeah. Like always on the dump button. Like,
yeah. So as far as what we don't know about Adrian, though, I don't know. I mean, he's an open book.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm going to be completely honest, Adrian he's probably one of the most loyal people loyal person I know, and he's a great husband. Maybe not perfect, but he's great because his heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
He is very much a people pleaser, but he's extremely loyal and an extremely good friend, and he's been there for me. I've been there for him as well, but especially through this last week, which has been extremely difficult for me, and the rest of my family. He's been there. He's been a great friend, and me and him very much are brothers. So yeah, Yeah, if I could say something about Adrian, it's his loyalty that stands out to me. So, but yeah, he's very much an open book, and what you see on the screen, what is portrayed, that's very much an interaction in day-to-day stuff, and it makes for very interesting business meetings.
Yeah, I bet. Now, what would he say about you?
Oh gosh, I'm probably like, I'm racist, homophobic, transphobic. I don't know. I don't know, whatever other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, God, there's so much stuff that I've had to do, that I've said that has probably not come across the right way, and it's actually hit the cutting room floor, so no one will ever hear it.
Yeah.
But there are sometimes that it just, because I have a thing where I'll literally, it'll come into my head. I think it might sound funny, and I'll just blurt it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that gets me in the shit, because sometimes people might take me the wrong way.
Yeah.
I've learned through this whole process to somewhat control that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned that the funniest side of me comes out when I don't. So it's a bit of a trade-off. It can be a little bit tough to do, but he knows some shit about me. I don't know. That'll be an interesting conversation you should have with Adrian, though.
I plan on having that conversation. If you, I'm 2 steps ahead of you. I'm setting you up for him.
He'll probably be like, Rousey is fucking stoned all the time.
You think I don't have this planned out? What are you talking about? Of course I have this all planned out. Actually, here he is right now. No, he's dead asleep. No, that's great insight, and long may it continue. You guys are doing a fantastic job, and I know globally, the passion comes through. And on that, I know you guys talk about going to Wrexham. You guys have a plan, and people love you guys, and they care about what you guys are doing. So, and your passion comes through. So, you want to get back to Wrexham? You mentioned. What's the plan for that?
So, we've obviously got a program that we call the Fuckheads. It's like a little fan program. So the business that we have makes money through that and through merchandise sales. But we give back as well. Like, we don't just take. Like, we make sure that we give back, because these guys are giving their hard-earned money to help support us. And they've supported us from the day dot when it was costing us shitloads of money just to put on a podcast. I was surprised how expensive it was.
Yeah.
People don't understand, unless they're actually trying to do a podcast, just how much money you have to put into it.
And time and consistency. Time and consistency as well. I mean,
time and consistency, as well. That's a massive one. It was just very expensive. So I came up with the idea to have a fans only program, but to make it exclusive with extras, things like the Discord, doing some giveaways, doing the shout outs on the pod, the early access episodes, all that sort of stuff, just to give back for people giving us their money. We're now in a position where we got signed by the Sports Social Podcast Network. Aaron, he's one of them. One of them.
He's a secret Rotherham fan, so it's okay. I love it.
But so we got picked up by that, which ended up taking care of a lot of our podcasting costs. There are still podcasting costs,
sure,
but it's a lot less. So we found that we can use the majority of that money we get from the fan program to put it aside, and then whatever we put aside, we match that ourselves. So essentially, we're trying to double that money every single month. Mm-hmm. So then we figured it out, doing it that way. November 2025, we will be ready. We'll be going to Wrexham, hands down. It's all underway, all sorted. So that's what we're doing. So we use a lot of that to help. So this is why we love our fans, because they really, really give everything for us, and I just love them. So so that's what we do. And
sounds like a group of freaking elitists to me. It just drew like a spit. Yeah, it's fucking spit take on my own show. Sounds like it to me. Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh dear. Yeah, so yeah, that's the plan. That's how we're going to get to Wrexham. Me and Adrian sat down and said, right, we're now in this position where we're signed. We can do something with this and see where it goes. And so we came up with the plan, and everything that gets put in through the Fuckheads program, we match out of our own personal pocket. And then by the time November 2025 comes around, we get that. So we will be going, and it is done deal. We are definitely going. And I think there may be some discussions of Two Beards Wrexham podcast live shows.
You got to do it. You got to do it. You're there. You got to do it, bro. You got to do it. Yeah, at the turf. I'm sure they'll let you do it. P.S. Rousey's my executive producer said just printing out now. Exactly.
On the HP Smart Tank printer.
Yeah, hold on. Are you saying that we got an announcement? Hold on. Do we need to go? Not yet. Well, Steck, you don't get us nervous here. Last time we had an announcement go through when we were live. No, you guys are doing fantastic. And getting over there is obviously got to be full circle for you. You know, starting out from Coventry in the UK and then going up there, and I think it's great. We can't, and obviously you'll keep everyone posted on what's going to happen as you lead up to it too. So go become a fuckhead as well.
The dream is to do this full time.
Yeah,
to be able to make a comfortable living off it, do it full time. Be able to fly in and out of Wrexham whenever I want. I know Adrian sort of feels the same with that one too, but podcasting can be quite a big business. Being an online personality can, and if it grows and we get to that point, I mean, that will be the dream. Is that we don't have to do boring day jobs anymore. We can just focus on Two Beards Media and making it into something bigger than just the podcast, you know. And that's the dream, and it would be good to do that. And then, you know, my kids as well, their livelihoods will change because of it, and that will be a great thing. So we shall see what happens down the track. You never know.
You never know. You keep going, you keep doing what you're doing, and dreams, you know, do come true. And they also are goals, and you put those goals out there. It's out in the world now, so you can't pull it back now. It's already out in the world. So you put it out there, and it'll come back. And I was going to say, what is next steps for you personally? And obviously, you're talking about Two Beards, what you guys want. What is the next steps for you?
Well, at this stage, it is focusing solely on Wrexham in November 2025. Mm-hmm. That's our goal. And obviously maybe doing live shows over there as well. So that's really probably the big next step for us.
Yeah.
I'm probably myself getting into a bit more of I want to get more into the editing side of things, and maybe edit a few promotional videos or music videos. As much as editing a music video sucks, it can be really, really hard to do those.
Yeah, well, if you need help, I'm a decent editor myself. If you need some help, we can always help out. You know, if I can do something, happy to do it.
But I just want to keep the podcast going. I mean, I'm happy with the community that we have and that we're a part of, and the Wrexham fan base as a whole is just it's unlike anything else.
Totally.
And I'm happy just to continue being a part of that.
Well, you guys are doing great work. I know we've connected, and Adrian and you are, making a lot of people happy by your content and touching a lot of people all over the world, to making people smile. And I know it's going to continue for you guys, and I'm always listening. So, you know, it's been great, and I appreciate you opening up and just having a conversation. And I'm glad we did it live because we were like, don't do it live. No, I'm like, I think it's better. You know, I put you on your toes. It's like, okay, let's go. What is it?
It is very different, and you got to be so careful. Like I know with me with live stuff, and people were like, oh no, but I'm not stupid. I reckon I can, I can turn the filter on every so often, like today. And it's been a great conversation today, and you got to learn a little bit about Rousey.
Yeah.
What's Marie? Oh, Marie from SoCal's here.
Yeah, Marie from Scotland. So we migrated from Scotland to California when I was 8. Memory of Scotland are pretty much in black and white. Everything after that in color. Interesting. Wait, that's a great...
You know what? That is a really interesting thing, because for most of my life, I had no memories of England. Like, people would tell me things that I did as a kid, and I would not remember a fucking thing. But for some reason, when I was maybe 25, 26, I started remembering everything, and like vividly remembering everything, like remembering places and streets and, friends I grew up with, and all these other little things that just really came back. And the older I got, the more memories came back. And I wouldn't say I saw those memories in black and white myself. Like, they're vivid memories, like they happened fucking yesterday.
Yeah.
Really strange. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why now I refer like UK is my home, because it does feel very much that way, is because that's where I was born. That's my heritage.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was so weird, like, just to have that blocked out for so long, and then just all of a sudden start flooding back all these things that happened, and weird.
Yeah, like the light bulb goes off, and Marie says same thing that happened to her as well. So yeah, I mean that's pretty interesting, and that's pretty, like that. It just kind of clicks. You're like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm been out in LA for 22 years now, something like that, and so half my life there, half my life back home, and I get those memories too, thinking about when we go thinking about being in Connecticut. I miss it, but it just clicks sometimes. You're like, oh, that's still home for me.
I have another memory. Like, I remember this, a little interesting story. I remember as a kid, I really wanted to watch The Simpsons, but my mum was against it, because for some reason it was one of those things, like there's a huge thing back then where no, not watching Simpsons and all that sort of stuff. But my dad took me into Coventry, and we went into a toy store, and I actually had a pet rat that I lost, and he wanted to make me feel better. So I chose a Bart Simpson figurine on a skateboard.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Brought it back, and my mum lost her shit.
I probably had one.
Yeah. And then from there, she sort of softened up to it, and I ended up with a Bart Simpson skateboard myself that I used to ride down the back in the backyard. Football was a big thing where I grew up, because we actually lived on the back of a whole bunch of fields where they would play football every Sunday.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing there as well. And I used to actually climb out of my house, which was on Castle Road in Nuneaton. So if you want to Google it, you'll bring it up, 23 Castle Road. So this used to be a little thing that I used to climb out of, and used to give my mum heart attacks all the time, because I'd climb out of it and I would chuck rocks at my friend who was 2 houses down, and we would chuck rocks at each other, and we'd piss off the neighbor in between. But I used to sit on this ledge just outside my window and watch the guys playing football in the fields on the Sunday. And then my mum would drag me in, and we'd have the Sunday roast, which would be a Yorkshire pudding and beef and mashed potatoes and roast vegetables.
I haven't eaten anything today. Oh, now I'm starving. But aren't those great memories, though? Those are probably, like you said, they're probably in color, and you remember it. That's.
Have you ever had a Yorkshire pudding?
I had. I was in Broadway in Cotswold. Of course, I have. Yeah. I had Sunday roast at after my wedding in Broadway.
Right. So next time you go back, and I don't know if you have had this, have Toad in the Hole.
Toad in the Hole?
Yeah, Toad in the Hole. So what it is, it's a Yorkshire pudding with a beef sausage in it, like a hot dog, but with Yorkshire pudding. It is the tits. Love it.
I think I just found. Is this it? Let me see if it doesn't come up. Usually don't do this. Oh, of course it's not coming up. I have to say Toad in the Hole. I just found it, and it looks brilliantly. Yeah. Toad in the Hole. Toad in the Hole is a traditional English dish consisting of sausages, Yorkshire pudding batter, usually served with onion gravy and vegetable. Historically, the dish that is also prepared using meats. Okay, I know what I'm making today. I'm going to make a Toad in the Hole.
Do it.
I'll make
it is the best, the hands down the best dish. Like, I don't know what it is with the UK people when they invented that, but like clearly the guy must have been stoned off his gourd to come up with that. But oh my gosh, it's good. Toad in the Hole. Oh.
I'm going to bring it up so everyone can see it here, and then we'll get everyone get you to bed. I know it's late for you. Hold on 1 second.
No, I'm having fun, mate. I'm good.
Hold on. There's Toad in the Hole, right?
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Got to get the old gravy, mashed potatoes on it.
That looks fire. I like that. I'm gonna make this. All right.
That's proper there. That is a proper Toad in the Hole. That one. That is, yeah. Got to do it.
I'll find the Gordon Ramsay recipe and I'll do that today.
No. No, just get, all you need is a decent sausage. Get yourself a nice beef sausage. Make yourself up the Yorkshire pudding. Put it in a pan. Half cook it. Put it fucking off you go. It's easy as piss. That's all you need to do. Okay. Just don't need any of that wanky shit. Just fucking straight Toad in the Hole.
And you're speaking right to Gordon. Just Toad in the Hole. All right, I'll put it into Discord. I'll probably be because I need to cook something today, and I like to cook. So there you go. Marie from SoCal said, "I'd love to say my mom was a great cook. Unfortunately, woman could burn water." My mom too. The only thing she could make was like steaks, and she did that's about it. And gravy, says Walsh Techie. Yes. Yeah,
you gotta have the Toad in the Hole and gravy.
Two Beards cooking show. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing like some kind of cooking and also some kind of like film thing. Yeah.
Actually, there you go. One thing you don't know about me is I think I can cook the meanest English fry up you'll ever have. There's got to be a proper English fry up though. So you got to have the black pudding. You got to have the baked beans. You got to have the little sausages. You got to have the fried tomato with melted cheese on top. Scrambled eggs, sourdough toast, the whole lot. The actual proper English fry up is the best.
Challenge accepted. We gotta film it. You gotta film it, and we gotta put it up. Do it as a show. Do a cooking show in your kitchen, and I'll show everyone how to make penne vodka with chicken.
Ooh. Hey, yeah, because you got that Italian heritage, don't you?
Yeah. I got the olives. Got 100% Italian. Yeah, that or I make a really good. Meat sauce as well. So yeah, but no, make it. Film your Welsh fry up, or so Welsh fry up. Your English fry up, Welsh fry up.
Well, actually, to be fair, I'm not sure if Wales they add the Welsh cakes to theirs, but their fry ups are pretty fucking mean. Okay. And their lamb and stuff that you get in Wales is the best.
Yeah, but
I don't know what it is about Welsh lamb.
Yeah, the first episode's already done. Let's go. We're on. What's next? I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I know Wales. I think because Wales is well known for sheep and stuff, but they do really good lamb dishes. Yeah. Oh dear.
All right. Well. I'm so glad you came on. I'm so glad we did this, and we got to get Adrian on too. But Rousey, thank you for opening up and sharing with everybody. And I wish you all success what you guys are doing, and I know it'll come. So keep it up, man. Keep it up.
I appreciate it, and I just love the online community. You know what you guys are doing at Local Pundit. Now part of your little Discord group, which is really fascinating, and I support anything that brings eyes to Wrexham because we really need more people to understand that story, to experience what that story is, Two Beards grooming kits coming soon. Hey, that might be a good idea. I might release my own brand of beard
Yeah,
oil.
why not? Yeah, you got to keep it shaped up, right? A call and lover bread, love it with bacon. I don't. Ooh, what's called? What's that? Oh, that sounds.
Love bread with bacon. That's your Welsh breakfast.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Welsh breakfast. Legendary Rousey. Yeah, absolutely. Rousey, call Rousey's friend. Rousey's fried. There you go. Rousey is a legend. No, absolutely. No, this has been great. I'm glad we did this, and I'm glad we did it live too. A bunch of people here. Thank you. Smash a like for Rousey, and go give a plug to the Two Beards for everybody, so they know where you are if they haven't found you guys already.
Okay. On X, we are at Two Beards WXM, and on Instagram at Two Beards Media. And obviously, you can find us on YouTube. Just search for Two Beards Wrexham Podcast or Two Beards Media. We should pop up first. On our way to 3,000 subscribers. We only have 90 subscribers to go to make that mark, which will be great. So head on over, give us a like and subscribe. And obviously, I've got my own X account, which is Rousey, Two Beards. So that's the Two Beards thing, and twobeardsmedia.com. We've also got our own website, so awesome. Head over there if you want to get access to our merch and whatnot. It all goes to a good cause, and yeah.
You guys are doing great work. Long may it continue, and thank you very much for making the time to sit down and chat. And by the way, Les, mince and tatties. Sorry,
mince and titties. Well, everyone loves titties. I mean,
oh, my face is redder than it should be.
Oh, dear. But no, I mean, honestly, the community that brings eyes on Wrexham. So, all of your Eat More Chips podcast, amazing. Your Racecourse Ramble, Me the Wife from Wrexham, Fearless and Devotion, Rob Ryan Red, Two Beards.
Yeah. That's a great group.
We're all got the same goal. We all want people to watch Wrexham and bring more eyes to Wrexham. And we're starting to see more of an Australian following on the Two Beards podcast too. So that's just even greater. Like, we really want to get more Aussie eyes onto it. So, because it's such an amazing story. It really is.
It's awesome.
It really is.
Robert, I think we're all very blessed to be a part of something that's growing and happening right in front of our eyes, which is great. And so that's
and in the way the world is today, good news stories like that are worth $1 million.
Yeah, 100%, $1 billion. Yeah, $1 billion. It's great. And it's gonna be a great ride. I'm so glad we're all a part of it. Nice interview with the hostile. He's a friend. I'm glad I can call him a friend, I think, at this point. So I'm happy to have him on, and I feel very blessed myself. So thank you all very much. And thanks, Rousey, for coming on, and go support Two Beards, and tell Adrian we said hello, and we'll have him on soon. So thank you very much. And on that bombshell, we'll see you all soon.
See you soon. Bye.